Hello and welcome to episode 56 of the MotoGP first person career mode. Now in today's episode we should have been off to Catalunya for round 8 of the championship. Now unfortunately we had some technical glitches which meant that the race, everything recorded fine, but when I went to edit it I had a blank screen for pretty much 95% of the race. Was blank, and what looks like has happened, something failed in my recording with the video aspect of it, because it actually has recorded all the audio, so I was able to play back all the audio files, but for some reason I was missing all the visuals. Now if you look at the championship you might have an idea of how the results went. It was the most typical race. I had no pace in Friday. It was a hot Friday. You'll see there we actually won the race, believe it or not, first position. And here's the story of it. We had no pace Friday. That's actually untrue. We were actually pretty decent. I was riding quite well. But the whole field was covered by 1.1. I was like 0.9 off a quarter hour and I was like 15th, 16th. So we went into Q1. It was cloudy for Saturday and Sunday, which meant that the temperatures weren't as high. I topped Q1, went straight into Q2. I was like, yeah, fair enough. I did a good lap. AI seemed a bit slow, so I was like, maybe I might do well in Q2. Into Q2, AI were like 2 seconds slower in Q2 than they were in FP2 on Friday in the hot conditions. Got poled by, I know I did a really good lap in Q2, but I got poled by a mile. And then in the race, I led every lap, every corner, start to finish. It was a cloudy race as well. The recommended tyres was a medium front, hard rear. And now I was thinking to myself on the grid, hard rear will give me no edge grip, a lot of long corners out here, I'm going to go for the medium. Everyone bar myself and Frankie Morbidelli went with the hard rear. I was sitting on the grid while recording on, oh no, I've made a mistake, I'm in trouble, my rear tyre is not going to last. So buckled up, got a great start, pulled about half a second and managed the gap for 4 or 5 laps, then slowly pulled out to a second, then a second half, then 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, and on the last lap my tyres did slightly go off and they pulled me back in by about 2 or 3 tenths, but I managed to win it, and that has put me 9 points behind Fabio Quartararo in the championship. But today we are off now to Catalunya for the test for next year's bike. So after a nice long story about my last weekend that you should have seen on camera, it was a great result, typical that I would crash when I win my first race for Suzuki, but what can you do? Let's get off the test and see can we develop next year's bike. So here we are in the Catalunya test. Now this first lap here is my fast lap overall of the test on basically the current bike that I'm riding, the one that I won the race yesterday on in game, and the next lap will be my fast lap on the prototype, so next year's works bike, that would say it is, the one that's work in progress next year. Now there wasn't a massive difference between them. The difference is this one is a bit more fuel efficient and has a bit more of a reactive frame, so it's a bit livelier, probably a bit more slightly better chassis, whereas the next bike I'll be riding will be a bit quicker, but will be a bit more down the middle towards overall chassis flex and tyre, so it'll be kind of down the middle of what it to be expected. But I must say they both felt quite good. Couldn't split them massively, neither of them were a world away. I both tried them, same fuel, same setup, same tyres, just to give an even test. I think maybe the prototype is slightly better on brakes, just slightly. I think it's just a bit smoother. I think my fastest lap of the test was on the A bike, which is the current bike that we're racing in the current season, but the prototype for next year I was more consistent on, which is something I do struggle with, is consistency in first person. So if I had a bike that I was a bit more consistent with, I might be able to put on a better challenge for the championship. Now of course on the current bike I am second in the championship after nearly half the season, so we're not doing too bad at the moment. But I just noticed into these heavy braking zones, into turn 1, into turn 5, into turn 10, it's just slightly better on the braking. And actually my fastest lap, so if you take all my sectors, this bike takes 3 out of 4 sectors. I just made a mistake in the final sector on this lap, and that would have been quicker than the current bike. So overall it's not bad. This bike is an improvement, so we'll see at the end of this clip here that they asked me what bike I want to pursue development for next year, and I've chosen this one because I believe this is a step in the right direction. Just lends slightly bit more to my style of a bit liking to brake deep and slightly quicker straight line. Kind of taking more of a V4 philosophy to the inline bikes, but if we can get the bike doing it all, there's no reason why we can't win a championship on this bike. It is going to be tough. Up next in the calendar is Sachsenring, so that is going to be quite a difficult one for me. But yeah, I've had such great results here at Catalunya across all games, winning here in GP in the first person career mode, and then getting my first win in Co-op career mode on Formula 1 in the Co-op series. If you haven't checked out that series, the last 2 episodes have been magnificent. I do highly recommend checking them out if you haven't watched already. But coming out of the last one, you can see just touch wide there, lose a bit of half tenth, and up to the line. We're just slightly slower than the other lap, but what can you do? So you can see all the personal ID lap. So it's the B bike, the B bike, the B bike, then the A in the last sector. And you can see my average was a 40.1 with the official bike, and the prototype was 0.3 quicker after a few laps, and it's just about 10.5, just over 10 slower. But yeah, decided to develop that for the rest of the year. Now, it is a much shorter video today just because we only have the test. I'm not going to include Sachsenring yet, but I hope you have enjoyed it. Once again, I want to apologise for the missing video of Catalunya, because it was actually probably going to be a dull enough one, because I led from the start, didn't make any overtakes, didn't make any mistakes. I was just maintaining the gaps and I did well, but at the same time I'm disappointed I didn't get to put the video out because it was a good one. But nonetheless, I hope you did like today's video. If you did, like and subscribe for more. I should have Sachsenring up by the end of this week, all going to plan. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.